This is not simply a reaction video. I'm going to give you some alternatives and give you detailed explanations of what's going on here. Garrett Wing is an IGP dog trainer. He's not a behaviorist. What is an IGP dog trainer? It's the dog training sport of obedience, tracking, and protection. So when you're trying to train obedience and all this garbage, you're trying to apply something that you don't even understand. Garrett Wing would blame B.F Skinner for the Quadrants of dog training, but yet Garrett Wing couldn't even define the word behavior. He doesn't belong. He's got no qualifications to call himself a behaviorist. Once you define the word behavior and explain what it is, then the entire system of dog training, as we know, goes into garbage, and that's not going to be very good for you all, is it, Garrett? Where did the Quadrants of dog training come from? Right here. Konrad Most training dogs. The use of compulsion and inducements. There's your reward and punishment. Your carrot and stick, enticement and menace. That's the Quadrants of dog training. None of this has anything to do with B.F Skinner. None of these people have the qualifications to call themselves a behaviorist, but yet. Let's have a listen to what Garrett's got to say.
Who's in charge of the relationship between you and your dog?
Let me ask you a question. For husband and wife, who's in control of the relationship? You or your wife? Is that a fair question to ask? Because that's a transactional relationship. That's a toxic relationship, no? And people wonder why they got problems.
All you got to simply do to answer that question is look at the behavior at the front door.
Behavior. Look at the behavior at the front door. The dog is excited at the front door. Why? Why is the dog excited? Why is the dog trying to eat people when they come in the house? Why is the dog digging up the backyard? Why is the dog eating your shoes? Why is the dog amped up in the house? Because trainers are telling you to bring all the treats and the toys and all of the excitement, the puzzle mats and everything else into the house. When your dog is excited, they got all kinds of behavioral issues as a result. Get rid of all the treats, get rid of all the toys, go outside. If you want calm inside of your house, get rid of all the excitement. But that's not beneficial to people like Garrett Wing. It doesn't make them money.
And ask yourself, does your dog think they own the front door?
What kind of psychology are you pushing here? At what point do you declare that the dog owns the front door? The dog doesn't even think about that.
That look like? When there's a knock at the door, your dog goes ape shit crazy as the first one there, barking, clawing.
Yeah, that's the reason why the dog is trying to eat people at the freaking door, because inside the house means excitement. You want calm inside the house. I've talked to thousands of dog owners over the years. I've asked them the same question. What is it that you really want from your dog? It doesn't matter what I want from your dog. My opinion of your dog doesn't matter. Garrett Wing has no say in the outcome of your dog, but yet he's standing there going, you need to train your dog to do this. Dog owners, what do you really want from your dog? Number one response that I get, I want a calm dog. But yet they're doing everything to keep the dog in an amped up state. All the treats, the toys, the puzzle mats, everything else inside the house, get rid of them.
A fool, and you cannot regain control of the situation.
Regain control. It's always about control and management. That's all IGP is. There's only two outcomes for dog training. One is control and management. The second one is euthanasia. And one leads to the other, right? As control and management, it tends to lead to euthanasia. And again, once you define the word behavior of something Garrett Wing will not do, he refused to do it. Once you define the word behavior, then punishment is out the window. And euthanasia shouldn't be happening in the first place.
When you open the front door, they shoot out like a bat out of hell. When you come.
So what do you do instead? Take food aggression, for example. People ask me, how do I deal with food aggression? I watch trainers to rewarding and punishing the dog for food aggression. What do you do instead? What I will do, get the owners out of the house. This can be me and the dog one-on-one. The onus is on the dog. What is it going to take? Figure out what it takes for you to get fed. What alternative behavior do you want instead, ladies and gentlemen? You want a calm dog. That's all you need to do is stand there, do nothing, say nothing, and put the onus on the dog. Let the dog figure out what it takes to get fed. At some point, they're going to go into a calm state, a nice relaxed state. That's when you move to feed them. If they got riled up again, you stand up and you start over. At some point, the dog is going to realize that when I go calm, I get fed. There's the end of your food aggression. That's what you want. Same thing at the door. If the dog is bouncing up the walls at the door, put a leash on the dog, stand there, do nothing, say nothing, and you wait for the dog to go calm. Then you open the door. If you got an excited dog at the door, they're going to be dragging you down the street. That's the reality. If they get excited again, when the door opens up, you close the door, you start over. At some point, the dog is going to realize that when I go calm, the door opens and we go through it.
Back from a long walk, they shoot in and go right to the water bowl or sit on your spot on the couch, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, they shoot in because they don't get a walk is not proper exercise. Just about every breed of dog was bred to chase. They exist to chase something. But yet dogs don't get chased today. You're taking your dog for a walk on a frickin' prong collar. It's frustrating the shit out of them. They're not burning off all that mental energy. They need something to get the mental lines blown out. They need to blow out the mental lines. There's a reason why your dog is amped up. And dog trainers aren't telling you what you need to do. They are not going into breed-specific needs.
These are all problems.
They're all problems, yes, but they're all problems created by dog trainers because they want to make money off of you. They're telling you to work backwards because you're going to hire a trainer because you can't do it on your own. The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, once you understand what a behavior is and once you understand Konrad Most, you will fire all these dog trainers and come to the realization that you're the only one that can fix your messed up relationship with your dog. You're in a toxic relationship with your dog. You're the only one that can fix it.
Can't control or maintain ownership of your front door.
This ownership bullshit. What psychologist is pushing this? Where in any of Skinner's books is he talking about ownership of a front door, Garrett? But yay, Skinner, right? Skinner in the Quadrants.
Your dog owns the rest of your home, the rest of your life, 100% guaranteed. I see it all the time.
This is garbage. My dog doesn't own anything. We're partners. That's all we are. He's not trying to take ownership of the house. Where in psychology is all this crap, Garrett?
This is one of the 3 golden rules you must crush, is you must retain or regain ownership of your front door. Now, how do
you need to have full control and management. This is IGP dog training. This has nothing to do with psychology. Psychology would tell you point blank, work backwards. Konrad Most was all about control and management. He was an abuser. Skinner would tell you point blank as a radical behaviorist. The real friggin' science that Garrett Wing doesn't want you to know, replace your dog with a human child and ask you what you would do different.
How do you do that? Obviously, your words aren't working. You can yell at the top of your lungs.
No, there you go. Now you got to reach for a tool. I guarantee you this dog's in a prong collar, and you're going to start punishing the dog. You're going to start controlling and managing the dog. And this is what's causing all the problems in the first place, Garrett, and you know it.
Stop barking. Stop, bad dog. It ain't helping. Put on.
No, I'm always telling people, you know what? Stop talking to your dog. Just shut up and do nothing. Let them figure it out. Let the dog figure out what it takes. Calm gets me all the good things in my life. Calm gets me all the good things that I want. When I'm calm, the world becomes my oyster. When I'm an idiot, when I'm excited and acting like an idiot, I don't get anything. Think about that.
On a leash. Put the leash on in anticipation of Aunt Susie coming over with those beautiful deviled eggs.
In anticipation, there we go. So you're going to preemptively punish the dog. Positive reinforcement is all your desires for the good things in life. It's not frickin' have a treat. Positive reinforcement, a huge part of your positive reinforcement is to desire not to die, is to desire to stay alive. What is your positive reinforcement in that regard? It's called fight and flight, aggression and reactivity. That is your positive reinforcement. By putting a muzzle on the dog, putting a leash on the dog, and forcing it, you're punishing the dog in the worst possible way because you're taking away the base positive reinforcement. Zach George does the same thing. Every trainer out there is doing the same thing. It's all because the dog is now a liability. They turned the dog into a liability.
Put the leash on when you know the mailman's going to be coming. Obviously, you're going to put the leash on before.
Yep. Preemptively punish the dog when you know something's coming. Anticipation. It's all about operant conditioning. Expectation is the result of dog training.
Where you go for a walk, but use the leash as God intended.
As God intended. Use the leash as God intended. Are you serious, Garrett? Did God create the leash, or did mankind create the leash? When people read the book, Konrad Most Training Dogs, you'll actually hear all about the leash. You'll hear about the choke collar. You'll hear about what Konrad Most called a spike collar. Why did he have spike collars? Because Herm Springer.
So that you can talk to your guest or talk to the camera and get perfect, beautiful control.
Perfect, beautiful control and management of the dog. There you go. This is all IGP dog training. This is not psychology. This is not Skinner. Skinner would not tell you to control and manage your dog, but you know what? Is Yay Skinner in the Quadrants, right?
With your dog with fingertip pressure.
Pressure is another big thing with Konrad Most.
You don't have to use a lot of muscle and force if you know what you're doing. And then,
if you know what you're doing. Dog owners, you don't know what you're doing. Okay? These trainers don't know what the hell they're doing. That's the reality. But they're making it look good.
And when you do decide to go for that walk, or you do decide to open the door and get that...
This is the result of punishment. Now, people need to understand, when your dog is out in the environment and you're going, no, you're trying to control it, and you start punishing the dog, that's a problem. Now, you take the same scenario and you let them do what they want to in a different situation, in a controlled situation, something that they were punished for before. What do you think the response is going to be? Right here. It's called learned helplessness. It's called stubbornly doing nothing because they don't know if they're going to be punished or not. And the dog knows that if it gets excited and starts running out the door, Garrett's going to punish him. It's always that constant threat of punishment that keeps the dog in line.
Package from whoever, kiss Aunt Susie on the cheek, Your dog is behaving like a perfect gentleman or lady. And then,
because you're scared not to. That's the reality. It's always the constant threat of punishment that keeps the dog in line. It doesn't change the intent. The intent is in the mind. The free will is in the mind. You don't have free will when it comes to your behaviors, right, Garrett? This is all psychology. Real psychology.
when it's time to go for a walk, simply grab the leash, and like a civilized human being and an obedient dog.
An obedient dog. There you go. The IGP is the dog training sport of obedience, tracking, and protection. You're trying to train obedience. When your dog is dragging you down the street with nose to the ground, that's tracking. And when your dog is barking and raging at the world, that's your protection. IGP dog training is the dog training sport of obedience, tracking, and protection, and that's exactly what you're creating as a result of all this garbage.
You simply let them know it's time for a walk, and they're not going to act a fool. Watch how it goes. Okay. Folks.
Have a good day.